Frank Gardner reporting. Now we can speak to Hilik Bar, the Deputy Speaker in the Knesset and a member of Israel's Labour Party. He's in Jerusalem. Here in the studio with me is the Israeli author and academic Avi Shlaim. Good evening to both of you. First of all, Hilik Bar, the history of the conflict between Israel and Hamas is that nobody wins. And yet you and appears the majority of the Israeli people back the ground invasion.
Yeah, actually, it's not natural to us in the Israeli opposition of the Labour Party to give back support to Prime Minister Netanyahu. But we are supporting him on the ground invasion to Gaza and on this whole operation because Israel came to a point when we don't have a choice. We have a brutal, very, very bad terror organization that we have to deal with, that's shooting thousands of rockets on women and children on the south of Israel until Tel Aviv and even northern to Tel Aviv. And Israelis deserve to have blue sky free of rockets as any other country in the world. And this is why we in the Labour Party, the entire Knesset members, I think, support the Prime Minister, support the IDF, our soldiers who got killed just last night, that go in a mission to save the life of the Israeli people, because this is the reality we are having. This is the reality we are having since the establishment of Israel, and we are living on our sword with no other chance. And if I may add one thing.
Avi Shlaim, hang on, I just want to bring in Avi Shlaim there. It is understandable, surely, for Israelis that they want to remove the threat. They want to remove the threat, apart from anything else, of these tunnels which seem to pop up, in kibbutzes, in the middle of people's gardens, complete insecurity.
This is not understandable to me because the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians is at its core a political conflict, and there is no military solution to this conflict. So no amount of military force by Israel is going to resolve the conflict. And Israel has tried again and again. It launched a full-scale assault on Gaza in 2008, 2009. Then there was another round of violence in 2012, which ended with a ceasefire. And there is another round of violence. So both sides accuse the other of initiating the violence. The chain of action and reaction is endless. But the underlying cause, the context for the violence, is Israeli colonialism and the Israeli occupation of Palestinian territories.
So, Hilik Bar, do you see any merit in saying that there's occupation that has to be ended now? That is the only way to end this conflict?
Yeah, by the way, I agree that an all-military solution will not bring an end to Hamas, and that we have to combine both military and diplomatic steps in order to fight with Hamas. But you talked about these tunnels, and I'm asking you, hundreds of millions of dollars was invested in Gaza after Israel withdrawn from Gaza. 800,000 tons of cement was used to build this tunnel instead of building schools and hospital and buildings for affordable housing in Gaza in order to make Gaza the next, I don't know, Brighton Beach or Monaco. These terror organizations don't want to have peace with Israel.
But if you look, there is no equivalence, of course, in death. Every death is a tragedy. But if you look at this, there's more, according to Palestinian authorities, more than 500 Palestinians killed. Each death regrettable, the same way that each death of an Israeli soldier and the civilians is regrettable. And if the head of the UN says that there's been atrocities, atrocious action, does anyone actually even listen to Ban Ki-moon?
This claim is making me furious, because it's like Israel have to apologize that we don't have as much casualties like the Palestinians or like Hamas that use his civilians as human shields. In the Middle East, in the crazy zoo of a neighborhood of the Middle East, if you are not strong, if Israel will not be strong, we will not exist. Look what happened between Muslims and Muslims in Syria.
If Israel's not strong, you won't exist. Do you accept that, Avi Shlaim?
No, I don't. Israel is the fourth strongest military power in the world. And the Palestinians are a negligible threat. They don't pose any threat to Israel's basic security. What is fundamental to this conflict is the asymmetry of power between the two sides. So the Palestinians are the weak party, the vulnerable party, and the trouble with Israel is that it has so much military power, and it uses this all the time. Ever since the occupation began in 1967, Israel has shunned meaningful negotiations with the Palestinians.
But if Hamas wants to obliterate Israel, what is Israel to do? If that is Hamas's stated aim, what on earth is Israel to do?
Hamas has a terrible charter, but it has a group of pragmatic military, political leaders who have been moving towards moderation all the time.
Hilik, is it possible that actually Israel will have to talk to Hamas? Hamas says it doesn't want to talk to Israel. Do you think Israel should talk to Hamas, try and talk to Hamas?
Yes, Israel will happily talk to Hamas if Hamas will make a shift and do what the Fatah chose to do 2 decades ago, when they understood that a military solution and resistance solution is not the solution. Israel, not like the Hamas or not like the Palestinian yet, proved before that when they have partners for peace, and I remind you that both Egypt and Jordan was much worse of an enemies to Israel than the Hamas or the Palestinians, so we are talking to them, and we are giving away territories, and we are giving away natural infrastructure, resources, water, and if Israel don't have something, if natural resources, water and territory, which we gave only in order to have peace. So Hamas have to do what Fatah did and what Abu Mazen is doing, and is to say we are not fighting and making this struggle through terror. We are talking with the other side, and if they will want to make a dialogue with us, we'll be more than happy to launch it and to get to the two-state solution. That it's the only
I'm afraid we
solution
could continue this debate for a long time. Thank you both very much for joining us tonight.